Hi everyone, my name is Varsha and welcome to Study with Varsha. So today we are going to discuss about 20 questions. 10 will be on the topic of Docker and 10 on the topic of Kubernetes we will discuss. So let's start without any further delay. So the first question came in our mind, that is, what is Docker and why it is used. So Docker is a containerization platform that allow application and their dependency to be packed into lightweight containers. So unlike virtual machine, containers share the host OS, that is kernel, making them lightweight and faster. So in production, Docker ensures that environment consistency, like first it will go to the dev, then it will go to the test, and then it will go to the prod. And because of that, faster deployments will be there. And if it's come to the scalability, so it is easy to scale, and for it is best for the microservices architecture support also. And for AWS DevOps, Docker is commonly used in build image, push to ECR, and deploy on ECS or EKS as per the company requirement. Now the next question came in our mind, what is the difference between Docker image and container? See, Docker image and container is, the difference is very thin. Docker image is a read-only template that contain application code, runtime, libraries, and dependency. And a container is a running instance of an image. In a simple term, Docker image, that is a blueprint of the container, and container means that is running application. So in CI/CD, Jenkins build image and deployments creates container from those images. The next question is, what are the Docker layers? So layers means what? So each instructions in a Docker file create a layer. For example, if from is there, it is used for the base image. So that is also a layer. Run we are using, that is also a layer. Copy, CMD. So all these things, whatever the instructions we are giving in a Docker file, that is nothing but it will create a layer. So Docker uses layered architecture, and why we are using? Because it will improve caching, and it will reduce rebuild time and optimize storage also. So in production, optimize optimization layer order improve pipeline speed significantly. Now the next question is, okay, you discussed about that layers will come by writing all the things, and image also we discussed, that is blueprint of the Docker. But what is Dockerfile? So in a simple term, in a plain English, if you try to understand, so Dockerfile is a text file containing instructions to build a Docker image. For example, from we are using for base image, so we can give Node 18 or OpenJDK 17, Maven 17, like that we can give. Now we have to write some work directly, like where this thing is going to be stored. So we have to give some work directory copy from where we are copying the source code, and then run we are using to install, like what we have to install, and then CMD. So best practice is that we have to use minimal base image so that our container will be lightweight. We have to follow multi-stage builds, and we can write multi-stage Docker file, and avoid unnecessary package by using, for example, .docker ignore, and we can, that all this thing will reduce the size of the Docker image, and our container will be very lightweight. Okay, now next question, this question came, what is multi-stage build? So multi-stage builds will reduce the size by separating builds and runtime stages. Example, first stage, what we will do, we will build the app, okay, and we will get the artifact. In the second stage, we will copy only compiled files. So this will improve security, performance, image size optimization, and it is very important in the production environment. Like we can even reduce the size of the Docker file by taking multi-stage up to 300%. So we should have to be make sure that we can use multi-stage Docker file only. Now how do you manage Docker volume? Okay, so Docker volume, we can use persistent data outside the container lifecycle, that is used for database storage, log storage, shared application data. So if can like for example, if container get stopped, so volume data remain intact. So in AWS, EBS, EFS may be mounted similarly. Now, what is Docker networking? Yes, this question is important for the interview because Docker support bridge, that is default network, host network, overlay network, and none network. Now, whenever we are giving this answer, just don't give only the name. Try to explain in one line also. Okay, bridge network allow container to communicate. In microservices, proper network configuration ensures service to service communication. How do you secure Docker image? Yeah, so that is for best practices. We can use official image, avoid running as a root, because see, only there is one chance to insecurity in Docker, that root. So try to avoid running anything in Docker with root user, and scan always image with trivia or snick, and keep image updated with latest tag, and use minimal base image, that we can use alpine image. And security scanning is often integrated in the CI/CD pipelines as well. Now, next question is, what is Docker registry? Okay, so Docker registry store the Docker image. So where we are storing our Docker image, because once we write the Docker image and we are going to push the Docker image, somewhere we will push, so somewhere it is going to store, that is nothing but Docker registry. So that registry may be Docker Hub, AWECR, private registry. In AWS DevOps, images are built then pushed to the ECR, like Elastic Container Registry, and after that only we can deploy to the EKS or ECS as per the company requirement. So the last question of the Docker is, what are the common issue you are getting in Docker? First issue we always used to get is the large image size. Second is, if the container will get crash, and we get crash loop backup error. Port conflicts will be there, maybe because sometimes the other people are already using and that port is busy. Memory limits, security vulnerability. Troubleshooting includes, we can check first Docker logs, Docker inspect, Docker state. So these are some commands. With the help of that we can try to get the error and we can fix as per the requirement. Now, 10 interview question for the Kubernetes also we are going to discuss. The first question is, if Docker is already there or Docker Swarm is there, then why we are using Kubernetes? Because Kubernetes is container orchestration platform that automate deployment, scaling, and management of container applications. So it will provide self-healing, that is not there in Docker. What do you mean by self-healing? Self-healing means if one pod get crash, it will automatically recreate the another pod with the same specification. Auto scaling is there, so if traffic will come suddenly, it will automatically increase the number of the server or number of the CPU or memory as per the configuration. So our application will not get down, and rolling updates will be there. So sometime if the application is by mistake, if it gets to down, so it will already, we can go to the previous version and our application will run properly. And service discovery is there, so in AWS it will run on the EKS. What is pod? Okay, so I told you that if pod is going to crash, it will automatically regenerate the pod. So the next question came in our mind, what is a pod? So the pod is nothing but it is the smallest deployable unit in Kubernetes. So what thing it will contain? It will contain one container or multiple container, like sidecar pattern. We can pods here, network, storage, and pods are ephemeral. Ephemeral means what? If deleted, new one is created. Now, next question is, what is deployment? So deployment manages replica set and ensure design number of pods are running always. And the deployment will support rolling update, rollback, scaling, and it is used for stateless application. What do you mean by stateless application? Stateless application means the application which does not contain any DB. What is service? Okay. Service means where with the help of service only we can expose our application internally or externally. So there are like multiple types of service. First one is cluster IP that will use for the internal purpose, so we can't expose outside the world. Node port we can use to expose to the outside world, but there is a limit. I think 30,000 to 32,677. Within this range only we can expose our application to the outer side world. Next is load balancer. So we can, with the help of load balancer, we can expose our application, and external name also we can give. So in AWS, load balancer create an elastic load balancer automatically. Now see, this error came. What is crash loop backup error? So it occur when a container repeatedly crash and Kubernetes keep restarting it. So how can we troubleshoot it? So we can troubleshoot by checking the kubectl logs. We can check by describing the pod with the help of the command kubectl describe pod. We can check resource limit like CPU or memory is there or not. We can check environment variable. Now the next question is, what is ConfigMap and secret? So ConfigMap will store non-sensitive configuration, and secret will store sensitive data like password or tokens. So secrets are used the concept of base65 encoded and can be encrypted at rest. What is HPA? HPA means horizontal pod autoscaler. So HPA automatically scale pods based on the CPU uses, memory and custom metrics. So in production, we use to handle the traffic spikes. Now, what is ingress? So if you don't know about ingress or egress, first try to understand and then you can come to the question. And anyhow, I'm going to start soon a Docker series, so you will get there. So as of now, just see the answer. So ingress means that will manage HTTP routing, and it will allow domain based routing, path based routing, SSL termination. So in AWS commonly we used ALB like application load balancer ingress controller. Next question is, what is resource limit and request in Kubernetes? Resource limit means minimum CPU required to do any task or to perform the task, and limits is maximum CPU or memory are allowed to do any task. So if memory exceed limits, then pods will get OOM killed, and important, that is important for cluster stability. So in this case, if we have to solve, we can do manually only. Now, how do you design a production ready Kubernetes architecture in AWS? That is the last question. So we can design EKS cluster, multiple node group, private subnet, application load balancer ingress, and horizontal pod autoscaler we can enable. And for monitoring, we will use Prometheus plus Grafana monitoring, or we can use CloudWatch plus Grafana monitoring. And we will give IAM roles for service account with least privilege, and secret manager integration we will do for the security purpose, and high able, so the architecture will be highly available, security and scalable. So I think this is more than enough for today class. Thank you for watching Study with Versa. Have a great day.